We've started a live video. It looks like it's telling everybody that we started a live video. I'm with Ken. Okay. He's drinking some serious gourmet shit right there, as you can tell by his coffee cup. We're doing a live. If you want to go to Work Realty on Facebook and watch it like on a professional camera, we're here with Brandon V. This is more like a behind the scenes one. We got a viewer right now. Any questions you want to ask us, you can ask us. This is on my personal Instagram, so we might have a couple more people. But ask me any questions you got. I'm going to put this over here for the meantime so that you can see what we're going to talk about right now. Maybe we've got to turn this sideways. Okay. So we live on Facebook? All right, cool. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the current state of the market. We've been seeing some changes recently. You know, it's been a crazy market. It's been super insanely hot, and we have been showing houses. We've been listing houses. When you list a house, you get 1,000 offers. That's an exaggeration, but seems like it. When you're trying to submit an offer, you're getting in competitions with people paying. In some cases, we've had people paying $225,000 over the list price. So yeah, I mean, the market has up to about, I'd say the last month, been pretty insane. What we've been seeing in the current market is some changes. We've seen some houses sitting on the market a little bit longer. Houses that were on the market for just 2-3 days are now being sat on the market for 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, and things that's like a little further out from the city center. Mm-hmm. Like let's say things in Sun Valley, for example, like that one, we're seeing it just sitting in the market, not getting a lot of traction, right?
Yeah, definitely. You know, a couple of things happened over July. Interest rates took a bump up. I think that discouraged a lot of people from entering the housing market. You know, they're already kind of discouraged by the amount of offers coming in. So with the interest rates going up, they decided, you know what, let's take a break. I'd say, in addition to that, no one had vacation last year, right? I mean,
no traveling.
Did you travel anywhere last year? I didn't.
I'm still trying.
I'm still trying, right? We're still trying to go places, but I've been seeing on Instagram, I've been seeing, you know, a lot of places, people jumping on planes, people taking off for the summer, people trying to get in before school starts. So I think that we had a retraction of buyers recently because people are traveling. They're trying to, you know, make up for last year. So I think that's kind of another reason why we've had a regression in demand. But we're in Southern California.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a shortage of houses. So, you know, as far as we see the market, we don't see anything just tanking like a lot of people are saying. We're not going to go out there and say, hey, this is going to tank because we want more Instagram followers.
Yeah. And most of what we talk about is going to be more focused in Southern California.
Any questions over here? Go ahead and ask.
Yeah, and you know, this is our first episode. So the pilot.
Oh yeah, this is the pilot to our our quote unquote podcast. And we don't have a name for it. If you got any names for it, just suggest it. We'll be covering regular real estate, which we consider residential / like retail. We'll be covering investments, flips. We'll be covering, you know, our syndication projects where we're knocking down houses and building new ones. We'll be talking about investing on hard money loans and getting returns at a more safe strategy. So we got a couple of things. You know, we're all things real estate. We barely dabble in property management, but we can give you advice on that. We can, you know, do background checks for your people, your potential tenants. If you're just a mom and pop investor that has like one rental, we can give you advice on that too. A lot of people just try to wing it and fill their rental on Craigslist, and then they get a nightmare situation.
Yeah, and in the future we could bring in like, you know, specialists that were
make some recommendations
in certain areas.
If you guys want to hear a specialist in here, you know, we're gonna bring in the Godfather of Real Estate, the Godfather of Real Estate in the LA area, aka Sergio Alvarez. He'll give you some insight on the investments. He's one of our partners on our investments. Whatever it may be that you want to hear, let us know. But in the meantime, for today, we're just gonna, focus on a couple of things. One thing that we want to touch base, if you're a landlord, the eviction moratorium.
Watch out.
It's been lifted, but I believe in the city of LA, it's been extended.
Federally, it's been lifted, but if you're in LA or in California, that's not going to go away anytime soon. So right now, the extension is up to September 30th, but they can still extend it. So seemingly, we don't know when it's going to end.
So if you are a landlord, just make sure you're friends with your tenants. Make sure that they are working or have a decent job, and if not, try to work something out with them so that you can get as much of the rent as possible from them. If they're in a really dire situation, try to work things out with them to try, just play fair with everybody. If people are going through a tough situation, it's better to work with them than to just throw the book at them, right? Because then no one ends up being happy, and then it takes a while. And in California, your tenants are protected very well. And if you're a tenant, don't be an asshole. Pay your rent, and help out your landlord, because you're not the only one going through stuff. If that means you're not going on vacation to pay your rent, then so be it.
I hear some horrific stories. Yeah. we all have.
Yeah, we're landlords, and we've experienced certain situations. We've worked with tenants. We've had bad situations with tenants. So, from all aspects, let us know. I'm over here looking at the Instagram to see if we have any questions. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them on here.
Should we give everyone like a background, or tell them who we are?
We can give you a background. If you're on our Facebook or Instagram Live, you already know who we are, essentially. But for the people who are tuning in, say your friend, shared this link to you, Ken and I, we own essentially 3 companies, and we're partners on a 4th company. One company being Work Realty. We own a real estate brokerage where we buy and sell houses for our clients. We can list your house, we can sell you a house, we'll show you houses, we'll do open houses. All the traditional stuff. In addition,
we have another company. It's called Ascend Private Equity, and it's basically a hard money brokerage that services, investors and lenders and borrowers. And then we can go into that in further detail, but for now,
just know it's an investment brokerage. Both of us are brokers, so we're able to have 2 different separate brokerages. One focusing on investments, one focusing on residential real estate.
And we're also developers ourselves, and that's pretty much the 3rd company that does ground up constructions, fix and flip. So we're quite knowledgeable in terms of that arena. And
we're building stuff from the ground up. So ground up construction, fix and flips. Our company, Paradigm Collaboration LLC. That's the company that we own that develops. So we do have rentals in that company. We have flips, we have new construction projects. So anything in that realm that you want to hear about, you can ask us. We've done a little bit of everything except build like a low rise or high rise building, which is in the future for us, hopefully. And then the last partnership is essentially with a mortgage office that kind of gets partnered in with our Work Realty. If you're looking to buy a house, you need a mortgage. You're looking to refinance your house. Need to refinance, cash out. We can do all of that. Yeah. So
for now, the format of the show is just 2 guys talking about real estate, really.
Exactly.
But, in the future, I'm sure we'll have some input. We could,
we're gonna have a little more structure, a little bit more questions. A lot of people like to ask us about the investment side, of course, because everyone wants the glory. Everyone wants to flip a house.
Yep.
It's not always the glory. It's a lot of headaches sometimes, but there is glory at the end of the tunnel.
It's all about flashing that check, right?
Yeah, a lot of your real estate guys that you follow on Instagram, they're gonna show you their checks, right? I don't think in my whole flipping career have I ever went to escrow to pick up a check. It's all wires. I can show you the wires that we get through. They're nice sometimes, but if you want us to be flashy, we'll be flashy. If not, just ask us the questions and we'll tell you the answers.
And what do you think about that? I'm curious as to what everyone thinks of that. Yeah.
Shiz, what do you want to see from us? You just want to see our faces? You like that? Anyways, we get a lot of questions about investments, and then we also get a lot of questions from people that would say, you know what, Nick, I'm going to get my real estate license. If I had $1 for every time I heard that,
well, I'm gonna
weekly, I could just retire probably. But if you do go ahead and get your real estate license, I mean, we got some tips for some new agents out there. That's one thing we did want to cover because recently we have got an influx of new agents that are joining Work Realty. So if you're a new agent out there, you know, we're more of an investment focused real estate company, looking to make like long lasting relationships with our clients, to where we can eventually, have a relationship so that you can be an investor like us as well. We don't want to bring you in, sell you a house, kick you to the curb, right? So that's one thing that I'll tell new agents is just don't look at your clients as a paycheck. Look at them as like a relationship, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
that's like all of our clients for the most part.
I think a lot of agents, they tend to forget that, like especially a lot of them that's been in the industry for a while. But yeah, it's good to remind ourselves that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just resign yourself to treat everybody as an individual and a relationship, because we have plenty of relationships where we've sold a person a house, then sold that house, and then took their equity, invested it.
Yeah.
They're making more money. They've leveled up alongside us. You know,
we tend to look at real estate as more of a, different ways to leverage and different financial instruments. There are a lot of lucrative ways to make a career out of real estate. Yeah.
Exactly. And if you're an agent that's going to join our office, just think about it. You're going to be looked at as more of like an investment. I'm not going to have you out there doing, hard sales pushes where, we're calling, 7,000 people a week. I want you to make.
And if that works for you,
if it works, that's great. I mean, that's prospecting. I know a couple guys out there that are doing that.
Yeah.
They're killing the game. But that's their strategy, and that's great. But I think the end goal for a lot of agents is to end up being an investor, because that's where you'll make the passive income as a landlord. But it will take you some years to get there. For just starting out agent, the number one thing I will say, what's the thing I always say? Come on, do you know?
I have no idea.
You know what I say. I know the girls over here know what I'm saying. Come on. I got to say, you need to know your values of the houses. That's like the number one thing. If you don't know the values of a house, how do you expect to sell someone a house? Or how do you expect to sell a house? How do you expect to flip a house? How do you expect to have a rental if you don't know the value of the house?
I think that goes for any starting agents or people that are trying to get into real estate.
That's what I'm saying. This is for new agents. New agents know the value of your house over anything. I don't care if you know what a Spanish house is versus a Tudor house or a Craftsman. Just know the value of it, because a Craftsman house and a Spanish house in the same neighborhood, if the same size square footage, they're worth the same. So know the value over anything else. Then you can learn
knowing your neighborhoods,
the finer details. Know your neighborhoods, know the blocks. Some neighborhoods change based off, the distance they are from a major street, a freeway. So, look at your values, and we have some courses on that you can sign into on our YouTube, and check that out. You can call me, ask me some values, but I will not run values for you. I'm not a value runner. People call me all the time to ask you values for the houses. Unless you are planning on selling your house, or you have a flip that we can be partners in, or if you're going to give me a hard money loan that I'm going to do a loan on, then I'll run your values for you. Other than that, don't just call me and say, hey, I drove by this house, what do you think it's worth? Because I don't want to I can throw an estimate at it. I'm not a value runner. It takes a couple minutes, it takes me 20, 30 minutes sometimes to run those. And, our time is valuable. Do we have a question?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Let me see here on the IG. Let's go.
All right. First
what do we got? How do your hard money work, and do you loan in other states?
I knew people were going to be interested in that.
So we're California real estate brokers, so we can broker loans out to other lenders out of state. We tend to not want to do that because we have such a vast market here in California. The returns are high here. There's some competitiveness in hard money loans, but it's also because we're probably one of the best real estate markets in the world. It's the most safe. When the markets do decide to regress and the values regress, our markets tend to have the most strength in keeping their value. like after the 2008 crash, like the number one region for value to hold its, or for places to homes to hold their value, and for the least amount of foreclosures was coastal LA and Orange County. And
which is why we're sometimes like reluctant to lend that's outside of LA County, Orange County.
Yeah, even more isolated areas, like the high desert or the the low desert out in Palm Springs,
and probably which brings up to the next point, that is the LTV, and then we should probably touch a little bit more on that. So LTV is the loan to value ratio, and then like you said, when if when shit hits the fan, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then if your loan to value ratio is, let's say, 70% of the property's value, it will have to take the market, diving down 30% for your loan.
For our loan to be affected. Yeah. So like Ken was saying, we're not predicting, and outside of the metropolitan areas, we would see a bigger market, I guess, regression in value versus coastal LA, coastal OC, near downtown. Those values are gonna, they're gonna be affected a lot less if a market crashes. So the hard money loans, we prefer to stay in California because that's what we're familiar with. We have feet on the ground. Yeah. We can drive to all our properties that we lend on. We've done a couple up north, though, we will say that. But again, areas that are metropolitan areas, Oakland, San Francisco, places that we density, places that we don't foresee a market disaster. Now, if you lend a $300,000 loan on a property in, Apple Valley, if the market crashes, those areas might be hit up to 50% versus a property over here that might be hit up to 20%. Like Ken was saying, we like to invest with a little bit of cushion. So, 30% market cushion is going to help us out. So in Apple Valley, that 50% cushion wouldn't help us out. But
and then what that means for the typical borrower, which, let's say if you're trying to do a fix and flip, you definitely are. We are encouraging you more to look into higher density areas, just because.
For sure. We have another question, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
So the question was, what are the requirements for a hard money loan? So hard money loans are collateral based. So essentially, if you have a property and we see there's value in the property, we will give you a loan, so long as your credit is not a train wreck. Your credit can be, we prefer over 600, but it can be lower. We've done loans to people lower than 600. That's where we start dabbling in late payments, things like that, things we don't want to deal with, it's headache-wise. But so long as your property has value, you have at least 3 months of reserve payments. So that means that you have enough money in your bank account to pay at least three months of payments. And you give us a solid strategy on what you're going to do with the property, aka you're going to either rent it out, you're going to flip the property, it's a bridge loan until you can refinance, whatever it may be. We need to know that. But so long as the property has value, we'll put a loan on the property. Individual-wise, we just want to make sure we're going to check, your Social Security, we're going to check your credit, because that's more to identify that you're actually the person you're saying you are. Mm-hmm. We can't just give loans to random strangers, right? Yeah. I hope that answers your question. If you have any more questions.
And if you're an individual who's looking to flip and you're working with a contractor, we definitely want to see what the contractor has done in the past, their portfolio.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to be flipping a house and, or even adding square footage, we will want to see your experience. I have a lot of people who say, "Hey Nick, I want to borrow, $300,000 because I want to build a house." I'm like, man, I build houses. I know that's not a walk in the park, you know. So if you've never even flipped a house and you want to build a house, I'm gonna tell you, you know what? Let's just sell you a house, because it's gonna be a lot easier than you think. We're professionals at this. We come to the office every day, and it still takes us, especially with hurdles such as COVID, things like that. It's taken us over a year to get plans approved in some instances. Yeah. And if you're not factoring that in to your project and your costs, a year delay potentially, then it's going to be a failed project. So I would always, highly advise that you get some experience and take baby steps into, the investing world.
Yeah. It's rarely a complete smooth sale when it comes to construction.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we have any more questions here? I know that we had a question in the back over there.
5 more minutes?
Yeah. This is for work.
This is for Work Realty?
Yeah.
Okay.
The person says, why are people buying when it's 100K over this?
Well, here's how it's broken down. So if you understand how financing works, right? If you are willing, and I don't know if you guys heard the question. The question is, why are people willing to buy houses when it's $100,000 over list price? And if you understand how financing works, you are paying to borrow money. So if you are paying at 4% interest rate versus a 2.99 or 3% interest rate, over the life of the loan, you're going to end up saving, depending on the purchase price of the house, you could be saving more than 100K. So if you're paying, let's say you bought a house last March, pre-COVID, and you bought it for 400K, if that property is, and you bought it at 4% interest rate, right? So you borrowed the money at 4%, but you bought the property at 400,000. If you bought that same property at 500,000 with a 3% interest rate, you actually would probably be saving money over the life of the loan. So that's why people who understand financing are willing to pay higher than the list price, because they understand that in maybe a year or so, if interest rates even jump up to 5%, 6%, them buying now at $100,000 over the value, they're going to be saving money over the life of the loan. So some people take that into consideration when buying a house. In addition to that, you get some benefits with owning your home. You get tax write-offs. You get to write off the property taxes. You get to write off the interest that you're paying. Some improvements qualify as tax write-offs.
And people with money in their pockets who actually afford doing that, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they could, overlook the appraisal.
Yeah, you gain appreciation too.
Yeah.
So every time the market's crashed, look at 2008. That's probably the biggest market crash in the history of the United States. And you can go back to when they started recording data in the real estate market. Every time there's been a market crash, the market goes down. But every peak after that's always higher than the previous peak. Yeah. So right now, values are higher than they were in 2008 when the market crashed. So if you bought your house in 2008 at the peak of the market, and you were able to, you had an economic proof job, you kept your house, you made sure you made your payments, and you've held on to it for the last 14 years, 13 years, you can sell it right now and still have equity. So even though you bought at the height of the last market, you're still selling it right now at this point and making money. So that's what I would tell the same people right now is, I heard a quote one time, I don't even remember who it was from, but it's like, when people ask you, is it a bad time to buy? There's never a bad time as long as you can afford it. So as long as you're comfortable with the payment and where you live, and you're not, you're comfortable with the location, then you could sit out a market crash. If the market crash is a 10-year turnaround and you're comfortable staying there for 10 years, then on the upslope of the next one, you'll be able to sell it and still make money. So again,
riding with the inflation.
Yeah, riding with inflation, and that inflation is going to give you appreciation. So real estate's one of the safest investments, honestly. I know my stock market guys, Ken being one of them, we have those discussions some points, but I hope that answered that question. Do you know who it was from or that I could shout out to? Oh, okay.
Thank you for that question, says PJ.
PJ. I think I know who that is. But anyways, anyone's got more questions, I think that we're going to probably wrap this one up. This is like the first one that we've done. So maybe it'll be a little bit more structured next time. We'll probably be on YouTube next time.
Any recommendations, suggestions, whatever.
We'll be bringing people on. Cool. Parental, guidance on this because we will probably slip a few cuss words.
We did pretty well today.
I think we did good though. So
I think
we're on Instagram Live here, and we are on Facebook Live on the Work Realty page through our great guy Brandon V right there. He's the pro, been in the game a long time. He's got us making like we're a TV show on the Work Work Realty Facebook page. So if that's it, guys, any last questions? Or ask them one more time. Let's see. Some people said, good job. Thanks, Andrew. You do really good analytics, so we're going to have Andrew on the show here soon.
Awesome.
Talking about the market. Let's see what we got. This was helpful. Appreciate you guys. Love you all. Peace out.
Nice.